Hey guys, welcome back. Mr. Will here for April 14th, 2020 for the group Every Day I'm Calculating. Today we're going to be continuing to solve equations with rational coefficients. I know that this can be a pretty tricky topic and concept to make sure that we understand. There's a lot of different parts and they all kind of stack on top of each other. What I was doing is as I was working with different students who were asking questions, I found a flow chart. And if you ever seen a flow chart, it starts with a question or the equation, and then it's going to ask you a series of questions like, does this question involve a fraction? If the answer is yes, you go to this box. If the answer is no, you move to this box. And then you solve the equation step by step using this flow chart. Now, I tried to get it to display on the screen, but I was unable to. So I am going to attach that in today's lesson plan. That is a resource. Normally, I would have that printed and have you use it during group to see if that would be a strategy that works for you or if that's a strategy that doesn't work for you. But I would like you to give it a go and try it. And it might give you kind of a roadmap, so to speak, to solve some of these problems. I'm hoping, without being able to sit with you and work through these problems, that as you're working through these problems, they're becoming a little bit easier as you're working on them. So without further ado, let's keep practicing, because that's the best way to get good at something is to keep practicing it. So I'm looking at this problem, and I see 1/4 x minus 5 equals 3/4 x minus 12. So again, what I'm trying to do is I'm trying to get my variables together and my constant terms together. So the first thing that I do is I see a variable on either side of the equal sign. If that's the case, I can always subtract the smaller coefficient in front of the variable. So this number here is called a coefficient. I can subtract 1/4 x from this side. And what that does is it cancels out this and it moves it to the other side because I'm going to do the same thing on the other side of my equal sign to keep it balanced. So I have 1/4 minus 1/4 equals 0. And I have 3/4 minus 1/4 would give me 3 minus 1 is 2/4. Excellent. So now I have 2/4 x minus 12 on this side of the equal sign. And on the other side of my equal sign, I'm left with, that's right, just -5. Okay, now, what would be my next step? What do you think I'm going to do next? If you said move the 12 to this side of the equal sign, you would be correct. Now, how do I do that? Well, because I'm subtracting 12, I'm going to do the inverse operation, and I'm going to add 12. So I'm going to add 12 to this side. If you have -12 plus 12, that gives me 0. And I'm going to add 12 to this side. So -5 plus 12. If I have a negative plus a positive, it's like finding the difference. So the difference of 12 and 5 would give me, that's right, 7. So I have 7 equals 2/4 x. Now, if you are wondering, like I am, well, wait a minute, why have I not simplified this 2/4? You absolutely could. So 2/4 is the same as 1/2 x. Now, in order to get rid of 1/2, we're going to divide it, but we don't divide fractions. This was a similar lesson to, I believe it was Monday. We are going to multiply the reciprocal. So instead of writing my dividing, I'm going to multiply it by the reciprocal. So the reciprocal of 1/2 would be, that's right, 2/1. So I'm going to multiply this. Don't forget my x here, sorry. I'm going to multiply this out. 1 times 2 is 2, and 2 times 2 is 1. So what that means is I'm left with just x. And on the other side, if I have 7 times 2/1, so that would be make this 7/1, because 7/1 is the same as 7. 2 times 7 is 14/1, or my answer is 14. So x equals 14. Very good. Now I want you to keep practicing and ask questions.